Dirty people, in this video here I will be reading and doing my best to answer all the questions that have been written down in that video I made about a week ago at the time of this recording, asking if you've got anything you want me to answer or react to or my opinion on. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to get the questions up. You won't be able to see them. They're going to be behind the video of me, and I'm going to answer them in oldest to newest. So the first people that read something are going to get the answers first, and then the last people are going to get their answers last. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? And I just thought I'd make it like a face, like kind of like, what would you call it? Not a face reveal, just kind of like a face. I don't know what would you call it. I like having the camera on when I do these Q&As because it's like me being real with you. It's more authentic, I think. You get to see my body language reactions to what I'm reading and what I'm looking at as well. And look, I understand content creators that don't show their face, but me personally, in the job I've got, if any of this kind of stuff was found out, nothing's going to happen to me. But I can understand there's a lot of people that could lose their job or could get cancelled, and a lot of bad things like that. So, yeah, I always like to show my face when I do these. So, without further ado, I will start in just a second once I get it up. Okay, I will start with the first question. And the first question is from Mr. Tim Tom 2631, and he says, have you tried to do a live stream with Master Yoda? He's another BP content creator. Would be awesome to have you to do a reaction together online. Have we tried to do a live stream? No, we haven't. I'd be open to doing it. I'm not too sure what it'd be about. We could just shoot the shit, or we could do like a double reaction to a PUA video, something like that. So if you're watching this and you're keen, just type I'm interested, and then I'll write down like an email address where we can maybe get in contact and have a bit of a chat and work it out. So I'd definitely be interested in doing it. But no, we haven't done any. So yeah, I'll be interested. So I'm going to try actually doing chapters. So I've got to write down the times of when I end a question. It looks pretty complicated actually. You've got to type it in the description or something. But I'm going to try chapters just so for people that don't want to watch the full video, they can just skip to the section where I answer their question. Now, instead of them watching a whole hour-long video or whatnot, just to hear their answer. But I know whenever I watch videos like this, I normally do watch them all or most of the video anyway, because there's always a little bit of value you can get from me answering someone else's question. So that's that question sorted. So we'll get to the next question. This one is from Pearly Whiskers 123. How to un-F your 30s and 40s if one is ugly and short. Deep question, tough question. I wouldn't worry about the unfucking part. You can't unfuck something that's already done. That would be something that's in the external locus of control. That's something that's already happened. We can't change the past. You can change the future. I know I've stuffed up a lot of my years, especially in my 20s, especially with learning, trying to do all this PUA bullshit. I wasted a lot of time where I could be doing a lot of other things, just trying to chase women, basically. So if your 30s and 40s are already over with, or you're in your 30s and 40s or whatever, you can do things to make them better. You can't really unfuck something that's already been fucked, depending on what it is you're talking about. But let's just assume that it's a pretty generalised question here. Let's assume that we're talking about BP stuff and women. Um, if you're short, not much you can do about it. You can get shoe lifts to make you look a bit taller. If you're extremely short, like in the 5'2" kind of area, then there's not really too much you can do but accept that you're short and own it, and accept that, just like me being bald, accept that 95 to 99% of women are going to reject you straight off the bat because you've got a shortcoming, like you're short, you're bald, you're fat, what have you. If you've got anything like that going for yourself, well, that's a bad thing to have going for yourself, then automatically a good 99% of women are going to reject you. Some don't care that you're going to be short. If you're ugly, that's something that's a lot harder to change. You have to work out what's making you ugly. Are you ugly because you're overweight, or because you've got something like bad teeth that you can get fixed? Can you fix it? If it's in your internal locus of control, if you can fix it, fix it. You've really got two options. If you don't cut the mustard, if you're ugly, short, or whatever, you got two options. You can accept it, or you can ascend. It's best not to stay where you are in the nihilistic valley and just wallow in it. So I don't know if you're referring to yourself with with that question because your profile photo is a photo of Yad the Impaler, Yad from Yad, that stupid British PUA. Oh, he's a clown, that guy, absolute clown. So I don't know what you look like. I can't really give you tailored advice because I don't know what you look like, but yeah, if you're past your 30s and 40s, you can improve your 50s. But if you're going in your 30s and 40s and you're ugly and short, I don't have any magic pills for you. You're going to have to accept what you can't change and try to ascend what you can change, and put yourself in the best possible market to meet a woman. Like, if you're JBW, go for the ethnics. Geomax if you have to. It's unfortunate we have to do this shit in this day and age, but we all know that women's standards are absolutely they're not just astronomical, they're just plain ridiculous. What they're all looking for, they are all looking for that top 1% bloke, and that 1% bloke doesn't want a lot of them. Even the threes want the 1% bloke. They just don't want their looks match, and that's one of the big problems us men are facing. Where if women would just want to accept their looks match, I mean, let's face it, we all want the most beautiful, hottest partner we can get. But a lot of men, if not most men, have come to the realization we can't get that. We can't get a Playboy playmate. We can't get Sydney Sweeney. So we say, okay, we have a good look in the mirror. Okay, yeah, I'm about this good looking. Yeah, if I get a chick that's roughly, my equivalent, yeah, I'll be a happy man. But women can't do that. Women want that top lock. We all want a hot, gorgeous partner, but women don't understand they can't get that. So they won't settle for their looks match. They just don't seem to want to settle for them for whatever reason. One of them's their built-in hypergamy, which is they just cannot reason with that. So he's got 3 questions. That was one of 3. That's kind of my best answer for that, because it's well, you can't unfuck something that's been flucked. I can't give you a magic pill for that, and I don't have enough context. If you're ugly and short, like it, well, I've seen you around. You've commented on that on heaps of videos of mine, and I've seen you in other content creators' comment sections. You know the deal. Yeah, it's either ascendance or acceptance is how to kind of unfuck your life from going forward. Accept it. If you're short, you have to accept it. Not much you can do. I think in the BP community we call it height frauding, when we have like 3-inch shoe lifts plus what is it? Wear like vertical stripes that make you look taller, that kind of thing. But I don't really believe in the height frauding thing, because at some point them shoes have got to come off, and you're going to look short. Just own it. Don't try to be that big man, little man syndrome guy where the little guy walks around like King Kong, as we all know. When 6'6" Chad is super confident, it's attractive. When 5'2", you know, uh, bald Indian janitor, whatever, tries to be confident, it's not taken as well. There's a halo and horn effect that comes with that. Some things you're just going to have to accept, and you just have to try to ascend as much as you can, and even the playing field as much as you can. Don't go for Stacey's. Don't go for you know really tall women. As I tell anyone that says what women should I go for, I say go for women that give you choosing signals. So as you're going about your business, as you're going out, and I'd want to promote that, get off the online apps if you're looking to meet someone. Go out, go about your business, join clubs, sporting events, whatever it is. Lock eyes with women, smile, say hello. If you get choosing signals back, then talk to them. Don't talk to them any more than just a simple hello without a choosing signal. Because trust me, I know how bad it can get with being arrested for chatting up women. So basically, whoever's giving you choosing signals, that's your pool of, of options when it comes to women. That's your dating pool. Once again, it's as Wheat Waffle says, it's about exposure. You have to put yourself out there, but you the typical white Western woman isn't really going to be going for an ugly short guy. You really do have to ascend or try, well, ascend and try maybe uh, Indian, like Asian women. Anyway, that's pretty much enough on that one. That's really all I can add to that question. Second question from Pearly Whiskers is, why do women go on about V-taper and abs so much if muscles don't matter? Muscles do matter. Muscles do matter, but not as much as face. And in order to have a good face, you generally have to be lean. And what gives you good musculature? Generally being lean. You don't really need to spend 6 or 7 days in the gym to have a good physique. You can just be a bricklayer and have a great physique. My dad was a concreter, and he never, as far as I know, never touched weights a day in his life, and he was extraordinarily strong, ripped physique, just from being active. But yeah, if you go to the gym once or twice a week, that's really all you need. If you want that V taper, which is your I think your internal external obliques. It's that kind of just beneath the six pack. It points down to your old fella, basically. Yes, women do like that. They do like that V taper shape, and that little V muscle down there. You have to be pretty much sub 10% body fat to get that. Very hard to get. Most of the guys that have that look are pharmaceutically enhanced. Most of the guys you see, like these stupid looks maxes, clavicular and that other Aussie dickhead that I forget his name, androgenesis, androgenic or something like that. I can't remember. You know, most of these guys, are on a little bit of something. Um, the ones that really, really carry on about it probably have a fetish for men that are muscular, but muscular does not muscularity does not matter as much as face. You can be a little skinny runt. I've seen it. I used to know a guy that I worked out with that was a skinny runt but had a Chad face, like really skinny, like pathetically small arms and stuff. And he landed himself a nice girl, probably about a 6 out of 10. If he did have um, like that, you know, Brad Pitt from Fight Club type body, women don't really like the big massive bodybuilder body unless they have a particular fetish for that. But if this guy that I knew from the gym had like a Brad Pitt Fight Club body, he'd probably have an 8 instead of a 6. So it does matter, but it's more complementary. So muscles do matter, but your face is the first test. It's the first landmine you have to avoid in walking that path to picking up a woman. You don't pass that looks test, nothing else matters, as we all know. After that, yes, then muscles and stuff and money and all that seems to matter. Money doesn't matter as much these days unless you've got a shit ton of it because, even a guy that's on 100k a year isn't going to be that impressive to a Sheila because they can go out and earn that. You're not really going to enhance her lifestyle that much. But as far as women going on about the V-tape, like in any kind of female locker room talk that I've overheard in my time, and it's been a lot that I've overheard, they're really talking about a guy's face or a guy's height. They're not really talking about his muscles. So, but if you've heard them, that's I can understand it. Muscles are important. They aren't as important as face. Trust me, from a guy that used to basically live in the gym, a good body, muscles will not overcome bad face. But like women have always like a good set of shoulders or nice chest or good arms. Uh, it's expected. Like I think a lot of it's just expected in their standard of man these days to have that. But yeah, face is always first, always. And Hurley Whiskers' third question is, why do women talk about smell good, etc., when even that doesn't matter? I'll say that doesn't matter. What's something I learnt a while ago about when people smell good? Not so much deodorants and colognes and stuff, but I read that people people of the opposite sex, whatever, like for me, women, whenever I walk past a woman and she just smells really, really, really good, it's actually a sign of you it's a sign of you will have a child with a strong immune system because apparently different like the further apart your genetics is from that particular woman, like the more healthier the kid's going to be. This is the theory anyway. It could have been proven bullshit. This was a good 20 years ago I read this. But the further apart your immune system is, the better the better that person is going to smell to you because nature wants you to mate because you're going to have a kid with a strong immune system. But that's a little bit different to what you're talking about, I think. Um, I've never really heard women talk about a guy that smells good, but I'm guessing when they say that, it's going to always be about Chad. Chad could get tipped over and rolled around in a porta potty, come out covered in shit, and women are still going to say he smells good. It's a bit hyperbolic, a bit, a bit facetious that, but yeah, I'd say yeah, Chad's going to get that, but I've never experienced it apart from like the few women that have slept with me and that. They might have said, "Oh yeah, you smell good," or "This I like this about you," or whatever. But I've never heard it in passing. I've never heard it in female locker room talk about, especially ugly guys that have smelled good. I've never heard a group of women say, that guy's not very tall and he's not very good looking. Oh, but geez, he smells good. I'm going to go and talk to him. I've made a video about it too. Forget about colognes and fucking perfumes. It's all a big load of shit. So that's the best I can answer that. Why do they talk about smell good? They're talking about Chad. Smelling good makes no difference. You can buy a $10,000 cologne. If you're short, fat, bald, and ugly, it ain't gonna. It is not going to increase your chances at all. All right, and here, let me. Before I do this, I want to take the time down for chapters. Okay, what am I up to now? Ooh, it's the man himself, Master Yoda, 498. All right, Big T. He says, Big T. I know you have mentioned that you have hooked up with some civilian women. That's what Master Yoda calls, just everyday women, like women that you don't pay for. I believe that's what you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what you call them. And it says, Big T, I know you have mentioned you've hooked up with some civilian women. Yes, I have. I'm not a true cell, never claimed to be. But have you had any relationships with civilian women? I would say once I had a relationship, but it wasn't a very good one, and it didn't last too long. And it was just, I just wanted desperately to have a girlfriend. Basically, was would have been back in my 20s, like late 20s when I started meeting people. In my late 20s, once it was getting more acceptable for a man to be bald, which, as I've said before, in my early 20s when I was bald, it was not acceptable. And yes, I did. It probably lasted probably about 6 months. Really not anything long term. I don't know. I've never lived with a partner, a woman. I don't know what that's like to live with them. It's something I've missed out on. Um, I have had like small situationships with the occasional civilian woman that's maybe lasted a couple of weeks, and then that's kind of fizzled out. Maybe because of, I don't really know, because they've found someone better. But maybe I was just there to like that Mister In Between guy, in between, you know, in between their partners. I was just good enough to do until they found someone better. That's all I'm guessing. I was just good enough to fill in the time before they found someone better. But the majority of the time, when I have met some civilian women, and like we've hit it off or whatever. We've had some bedroom fun. It's been me that's wanted to take things further, and none of them have ever wanted to go any further. This brings me back to that story that I've told. I've told it as much as your cruise story with your Chad friend, Master Yoda. That story when I was at when I was about 22, 23 at this big university party when there was bands there coming from Melbourne. We had, oh, what was it? We used to get Regurgitator, Super Jesus, bloody oh, what's that other mob? That other one called Grin Spoon. Like we used to get bands like that come down all the time, which was great. I loved it. And I'll tell a story just quickly. I was standing there with a group of friends early on in the night. I seen this like short, nice looking blonde girl. She probably would have been a 5 to 6 out of 10, depending on your taste. Walked up to me, stood about a foot away from me, so she immediately came into my personal space. And I was just thinking, what the fuck do you want? I was thinking, oh, here we go. I'm going to get asked to buy her a drink or some bullshit. And she just introduced herself to me and said, look, I'm just going to be straight up with you, Big T. I like big, tall, solid, bald guys. Do you want to do you want to make out something along them lines? And at that time, I was in pretty good shape, solid, muscular, with the bald head. And she was one of them 0.1% of women that actually liked men like me. And I think the only thing that got me over the line was my height. I was wearing these they were kind of a cross between military shoes and like boots and work boots and dress boots really, and they gave me about an inch and a half of height, and that was before the spinal decompression when I was probably a bit over 6'1", so I would have been about 6'3" in these boots. And that's the only thing that got me over the line and for her to come over. If I'd have been just bald but stocky, but 5'7" or 5'8", I don't think I would have had the same reaction out of it. But she said, "Well, I really like big, tall, solid, bald head, muscular guys. You want to make out?" Yep. So we made out, then went off to a quiet corner, and then left, and then the rest is history. Got her number and all that stuff. And a few days later, I was texting her. She was texting back, but nothing. She didn't seem overly enthusiastic. So I thought, I'll call her. I've always preferred talking on the phone. I hate texting. You text someone and it takes them half an hour to get back, and then 3 hours to get back. I can get everything worked out in 15 seconds of conversation. I don't need to text you for 3 days to organise. I can do it over the phone. But never mind all that stuff. But I remembered it was I think it was the middle of summer, hot summer's day. I was out hanging washing up, and I think she called me or something. I said, yeah, ring me when you've got some free time. So we rang, had just a little bit of small talk. Can't really remember what I said, and I could hear her girlfriends in the background, kind of like talking to her and whispering to her. And at some point, I just said, "Hey, what are you doing next week or the weekend? Let's go grab a movie. My treat. I'll take you out for dinner and a movie or something." And she was very aloof, really very. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if I should, and I don't know what she was thinking. But her friends in the background were saying they were actually on my side. I overheard one of them saying, um, "You like him? You like him? Why not do it? You said you like him." And here's me thinking, "Oh yes, she's going to say it. Her friends are on her side. She's going to go out." But no, I can't remember exactly what we talked about. But I remember hearing one of her friends say, "But you like him? You like him?" And I really did like her, and I really, really, really fucking wanted her to be my girlfriend. And I can't remember how the phone call ended, but she didn't want to see me again after the one night stand, after the bedroom fun. I don't know why. I never got the answer out of her, but I know she liked me. She told her friends about me. So it wasn't a case of her friends thought I was a dropkick or a deadbeat. It wasn't that. But yeah, I really wanted a relationship with her, and it didn't happen. But um, yeah, that other relationship that didn't last like more than about 6 months, I kind of fell into that because I had no other option, and I just wanted to know what it was like. It was pretty toxic. It was pretty shitful. She was cheating on me, all kinds of stuff like that. It was pretty bad. But yes, I guess if you ask me that question, I have to say yes. I have had a relationship. Have I had a good one? No. But apart from that, I have never had anything more than maybe a one night stand or a 2 or 3 week stand with civilian women, and they've wanted to break it off with me for whatever reason. I haven't been good enough to be a boyfriend. I've been good enough for a one night stand, but not good enough for boyfriend material. So that's what kind of makes me think I'm a 4 out of 10, because out of all the experience, that's the experience a 4 out of 10 had. Like back in the early 2000s, 4 out of 10 has. These days, a 4 out of 10 gets fucking nothing. Only a 5 out of 10 has got to be lucky, really lucky to get something. But now to answer your question, yes, I have, but didn't last long, wasn't good. And every time I've met a woman that I've liked and asked her to go steady, that's been no. So hope that answers your question there. You just write down the time quickly for chapters. And I bet you they won't work for some reason because I have shit luck like that. But okay, let me get back to the questions here. Ooh, here's one. I've got to say your name right. Here is a question from Ryu Zawai -NF2QF. Ryu, like Hadouken. Street Fighter, I'm guessing. Ryu says, have you ever convinced anyone to BP in real life? I'm guessing you're saying, have I ever told someone about, like, have I ever converted someone to the BP? No. No. People people have to people have to come to us when it comes to the BP. Um, I have really, really, really tried to convert one friend I had, and it's a friend I talked about in a previous video. I think it was titled My Blue Pill Mate, that video, when I was talking about this guy I play sports with, really big fat bloke who thinks he's got a chance because personality matters, and he's a good hearted guy. The poor thing, I really known him for a while. I've tried sitting him down and really just edging him in, and I'm not saying exactly like what the stuff we talk, but just edging him by saying, look, women don't really care about personality too much. Unfortunately, you've got to be attractive. They've got to find you attractive and that. But whenever I've said stuff like that, it's just like um, it's the wrong format for his brain. It just does not compute. I don't even think he's seriously considering it. It's just like he just kind of was staring at me weird, like I was talking a different language. It just true blue peed people if they're in the blue zone, you cannot convert over. You can't do it. You can't do it. I've probably tried with 3 people, seriously, and this guy tried a lot and can't do it. And from everyone else that I know, other content creators that have tried doing it, they've had the same experience. You cannot try to convert someone to the BP. They have to reach that point where they come find us. They have to reach to the point saying, what the hell's going on? I've done everything right, done everything I'm supposed to. Why can't I find someone? So they come to the internet and find us and work and find the truth that all this shit that you were taught growing up about, oh, just be yourself, personality matters, good thing comes to those who wait, and then you can't hurry love, and the right person will just magically come along. No, as we know, it's all complete. It's laughable, absolute laughable bullshit. But they think it's true still. But they have to come here and learn that, and have to be open to hearing that. Look, your looks are what get you in the door. It's all about looks, money, status, and then your personality comes into it. Then having things in common come into it. But they need to come here to us and learn that you got to pass that looks test, or it's fucking game over. Nothing you can do. It's game over. You're done. You're out. So, Ryu, no, I haven't managed to convince anyone. I don't think anyone ever has. Ever. You'd have to be extraordinarily lucky to find someone that's that low and that in that point of their life of giving up, where they need the BP, and normally they'll go find it themselves or whatever. Hopefully they find the BP and not these PUA dating road dickheads that are just going to fleece them. Oh. Alright, actually I got that time wrong, moron. Anyway. Pardon me, I just had to pause there. I don't know if it's noticeable or not when you're listening to this, so I just needed a drink. My mouth was getting a little bit dry. Pardon me. Okay, now the next question is from viewer 7424, and it's going to be a long one. So buckle up and get some snacks and drinks. Actually, do appreciate long comments. There's quite a bit to go through here, but I'll do my best to go through everything you've asked. He says, viewer 7424 says, hey Big T, I really enjoyed your last Q&A. Thank you. I like doing it. I like engaging with the community and making people feel part of the community. And one goal I have too is to get other people to make channels like mine. I started off just engaging with communities, and then thought, I've got a lot of stuff to say about this. And I used to have like back and forwards with other BP people and that, and I thought, I could just say that with a minute long video. So I started making videos, and of course never really took off because this kind of content doesn't get pushed. And I'm not going to get into all that stuff because I've already covered all that stuff about this, my other account getting banned and all that stuff. So he says, hey Big T, really enjoyed your last Q&A. Looking forward to this one. Hope I don't disappoint. I have a few questions in mind. One is a bit longer, so if you don't want to answer all of them, I understand. I'll do my best to answer them all. Cannot guarantee I will answer them to your satisfaction, but I'll do my best. Okay. He says, with the proliferation of dating apps, many younger women, even those that don't use the apps, have standards which can be described as chat only. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately for us guys, us average and sub five guys, we don't stand a chance even with our looks match. I really wonder what we can do to get women en masse to understand that they all cannot get Chad, and they're going to have to settle for their looks match. And it's not even like settling, it's like it's how it should be, really. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to come to fruition, but I'll continue reading. They know they can. They know they can be presented with hundreds, if not thousands, of options. Yes, especially if it's a Stacey on in person and online. Stacey's just get. Oh, I reckon a Stacey could have over 50,000 unswiped matches, and she's of course only going to go for the top. But even a 3 out of 10 ugly fatty's going to have hundreds. It's I got off the apps about 10 months ago. Haven't missed them. Haven't missed them. Of options at apps at any time, and understandably choose the highest quality, highest value men available to them. Yep, it's hypergamy for you. Do you feel that older women share this attitude of chat only as much as younger women? Good question. I think I think so, because all women are living in the same kind of stratosphere. They're all existing in this hyperinflated time of hypergamy, social media, that kind of stuff. And then I'll say probably a good 80% of them, 70 to 80%, a good 70. I'd say confidently 70% of women that are like 50s, 60s. I mean, this would be a good question for Master Yoda to answer if you're listening, because he's he's a good probably 12, 14 years or whatever older than me. He's around women of that age a lot, and with his ladies of the night and stuff. I think even in one of his videos, he said this lady of the night said she had like 2 or 3 thousand messages in her inbox and that, and none of them met her standards. So yeah, I'll change that from 70 to probably a good 90. Some of them have probably realised, hey shit, I'm getting old, eggs are drying up. I've got to find someone to settle down with. Maybe 10% of them. Good question. Got me thinking that. Young women, of course, young women are well, that's when they're at their SMV peak, so they can afford to be, even though they're not necessarily getting what they want, but they can more so afford to be extremely picky and go like Giga Chat or nothing. But I'll say this little caveat: older, in shape women that are attractive still want chat only. But you've got the older 40 to 50-year-olds, 50 kilo overweight women that'll kind of take whatever they can get. They'll kind of take like the fours and fives, I've noticed, but like a younger overweight girl would probably still only want a six or above, 5, 6 or above. So yeah, if you listen to this, Master Yoda, comment under this. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts on that. If you think they're as picky, I think yeah, when it comes to attractive older women, yes, they are still definitely as picky. The more so, like middle, 4 and 5 out of 10 women might settle for their looks match because they know time's a ticking, maybe. But given the fact that they've got apps and things like that, and they know that men of like, unless you like Chad or Chad Light, even sixes, like sixes, they know like sixes. I'll say that again because I stumbled a bit. I These women know that men that are sixes and fives, fours, threes are still lonely and desperate. So these women that are threes and fours know that they'll go down and have bedroom fun with them. Will they commit to them? Probably not. But seem to know the difference between being pumped and dumped, and knowing their place on the hierarchy. They seem to think that the old saying is, "Oh, I've had, Chad Light's, pumped and dumped me 50,000 times. All I need to do is find a Chad Light that wants to commit to me." They're not recognising the pattern, that all they are is a slow Tuesday pump and dump. So yes, to summarise that up, answer the question, do I feel that older women share this attitude of chat only as much as young women? Yes, with the caveat that they have to be attractive. Attractive older women still want chat. If anything, their standards go up because now they expect a 50-year-old bloke to have money behind them, as well as a full head of hair, height and looks. But the more so mid and the uglier older women, yeah, they're more likely to settle. But not to the extent where I would advise anyone to go for older women. If that's your thing, go for it. But I know when I was younger in my 20s, that was pretty much, for a long time, that was all I could attract. I'd be 24, 25, and all I could attract was um, older, significantly overweight, obese women. That was all, like me being probably about a 4 to 5 in my 20s, and being tall and muscular but bald. Not having hair was a fucking detriment. If I didn't go bald, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I would have found someone. Having no hair is an extreme detriment, more so than people let on. Women really do not like a bald man. Yeah, that's all I could get was big fatties. Yeah, well, on to the next question. On a similar note, Rehab Room uploaded a fantastic video recently called No Love Lost. Link here if you haven't watched it. I have watched it. I pretty, the old saying, what are sub fives doing on a Friday night? Watching Rehab Room. Yeah, I watch them pretty much the day they come out. Viewer goes on to say one of his best, in my opinion. I thought it was pretty good. Probably not one of his best. I've watched a lot of his older stuff too. Um, the central idea of the video, that historically women settled for men that we would consider average, below average today, out of financial necessity and societal pressure, not out of love or desire. Yes, 100% true. Before the invent of the modern world, before we had a police force, before equal pay, they could vote, they could work. They had, before they could be completely independent. Yes, they did need a guy, and it was probably the golden era for guys, because then, like, average sub five guys would and could find someone. I've talked about this before. Yeah, they pretty much did have to settle because hypergamy has existed since the caveman days. They've always wanted that rich Chad that can rescue them from their humdrum life and just throw them into the lap of luxury. But they did, they were forced to settle for any man. When they came of age, it was kind of like, who's in the immediate vicinity? Yes, of course, they wanted the best out of that. But like I've said before, it's not too hard to stand out when your competition is like 15 or 20 other guys. But in today's age, where your competition is basically the whole fucking town, millions of men, it's very hard to stand out and get picked. Very hard. So what he's saying, yeah, was true. Yep, women did settle, but from the accounts that I've read and watched, and that, they seem to be pretty happy. Once they settled with a guy, had kids, life went on. They basically didn't have time to whinge and bitch because there was no machines, there was no fucking vacuum, there was no washing machine, no dishwasher. They had to work. As the man went out and worked, they had to work from sun up to sundown too. So yes, hypergamy has always existed. Women have always wanted the top guy, always. But I think they were more realistic back then with realizing that they can't get that. They basically, their little town, little village, as they came of age, they had a certain group of men to choose from. I even reckon most of the time it was kind of railroaded that so and so were going to meet so and marry. That like this a girl's father might say, young Joseph down the street, he's got his head screwed on right. He's a farmer's assistant. One day he's going to own his own farm, or it wasn't the 6'5" blue eyes for finance trust fund. Wasn't any of that bullshit. It was if you were a guy that were employed, you were fucking set. Basically, you were laughing. So yeah, I have watched the video. Don't know if I commented on it or not, but I have watched it, and yeah, I pretty much I do agree with him there that yes, women pretty much always settle unless she's with that top 0.001% guy, she's settling. Now, whether women can come to terms with settling or not, back then I think they could come to terms with settling a lot easier because once again, there wasn't that much competition. There wasn't Instagram. They couldn't log on to Instagram and see NBA players and baseballers, fucking whatever, NFL players, celebrities all the time. They weren't comparing Joseph from down the street to them. So it wasn't too hard for a girl to say either, for a woman to say, oh, so and so's old Joseph's not too bad, he's got a job, he's not the shortest guy around. He's like, oh, maybe I'm doing okay for myself. You know, take them same men, plonk them in today's world, they're stuffed. Take them same women, plonk them in today's world, they only want Chad. The human species has not evolved very much at all, if insignificantly in like the couple of 100 years we've been civilized or whatever it is. Nothing. That's we still got that caveman BIOS system, that operating system. He goes on to say, basically, it can be argued that throughout history, the average man was a beta boxer. Well, throughout history, the man was, I guess, it's one thing he was a beta boxer and provider. He also was a protector as well. He was a protector, provider, protector. Um, Once again, was there genuine love? Very hard to tell. I'd have to try and time travel back, and I'm sure there was. There was a lot more cases of genuine love. Once again, as I said, because the amount of men, like in the 16 and 17 and 1800s, that women could compare their man to was limited. They didn't have access, like a woman from that lived 2 hours from the main city didn't have access to Wall Street or whatever, or the big finance men, or the few men that could have afford cars back then in the 1800s. There just wasn't that that big of a pool of men to compare their particular man to. So I'm pretty sure a lot of women did think they did get the prize. The 5'6" guy that owned 8 donkeys instead of the 5'4" that owned two. She would have thought, oh, geez, that guy's got fucking 8 donkeys. Fuck, he's gonna we laughing. You know, Bit of a exaggerated thing there, but you know what I'm getting at. It just didn't take that much to be a I guess a high value man back then. If you were employed and basically if you were employed and not disfigured, you were basically okay. And as I said, as I always said, of course they back then they still wanted whatever version of Chad was around. Of course, they might have been in their small community of 50 eligible bachelors. I'm sure there was a Chad, but guess what? Chad went with Stacey, didn't he? You know, back then I think a lot of women knew their place, knew if they were homely. Um, I reckon, yeah, back then more women went with their looks match, and guys even back then probably would have done better than their looks match too, if they could provide, if they could bait a bucks, like Rehab Room said. If a guy came from a little bit of money, that was basically it. That they couldn't afford to go by looks because back then being able to provide was everything. Um, he goes on to say, with that context in mind, do you feel that women's attitudes towards average, below average men has really gotten worse in the modern day? Fuck yes. Or are women simply more honest about it today, as they no longer have social expectation or financial need to settle with a man? Yeah, well, there's no consequences with for a woman like that sprinkle Sheila going on saying, oh, the man's got to do this, pay bills, or he's a useless piece of shit. Nothing's going to happen. There's no social consequences for a woman being a biatch. There was back then with religion and things like that. It's a woman just couldn't go out and do all that stuff. I think yeah, it's the measurement of what makes an average or below quality man has changed more than anything else. Like right now, like the average man, or what women would see an average man is probably a 6'2" guy with a full head of hair that makes 100K a year. That's not still Chad to them. They're Chad 6'6" that makes seven figures a year. Women have never, throughout history, I believe, have enjoyed settling. They've never wanted to settle. Just rereading the comment a bit. Women definitely are more honest about it today because there's no consequences of being honest. That's seen as, Yas Queen, you go girl, slay queen, saying that you only want, you're a 3 out of 10, saying you only want 6'6", full head of hair, rich bloke, chisel jaw. That's empowering. No one's, no one's sitting them down and saying, well, people are trying, us BPs are trying to sit them down, but they need their other fellow women to sit them down and say, listen, you got to get that crap out of your head. And if you're looking for a guy, you know, maybe lower your standards just a fucking little bit. But no, that's one of the worst things you can say to a woman is to lower her standards. So to wrap that question up, was it the average man? Well, men have always kind of been seen as beta bucks, and right now it's kind of seen as the bare minimum for a guy to kind of enhance a woman's lifestyle. If you're dating that girl, it's still the same. Even though we're in a world of equal pay and all that stuff, we've still got to pay first date. The 10th date we've got to pay. Something big comes up, we got to pay. Holiday comes up, we got to pay, that kind of thing. As I said, the measurement of what an average man is has gone up. So today's 4 out of 10 was yesteryear's 7 out of 10. You know, so yes, they're more honest about it, and they don't have a societal expectation to settle. Once again, they don't have their family pushing, they don't have religion, they don't have that fear of dying young or early or not having kids, because back then, 16, 17, 1800s, they needed a man needed a woman needed a man. It was kind of like a perfect mix. That's when men and women have gotten on the best, is when we've needed each other and complemented each other. Now that women don't need us, we're seeing their true colours come out. They don't need a financial need. The only thing they need is reproduction. And what are they going for? They're going for looks. They need us for looks. They want the best genetic material because they don't need us for anything else, unfortunately. Well, little do they know they need us to keep the whole fucking economy and country infrastructure running, but they don't care about any of that stuff. Just give me 2 seconds here. I am at work while I am recording this, so I have to quickly do a couple of things and then I will get back to you. Yeah, great questions so far from viewer. Yes, I hope I've answered them questions to your satisfaction. I'm doing my best. I don't have the perfect answers, but I'm just doing the best I can. We have, I think, one more question from viewer, and his last question is: where do you see the BP community in 10 years? Do you think it will be more or less popular, or about the same? Oof, another hard question. I The truthful answer is I don't know. I Young people, like whatever this generation is that are like 14, 15, 16 to up to 18 now, Gen Alpha or something, I can't remember what they call it. They've already kind of been to some degree BP'd with a Mr. Andrew. His last name rhymes with Kate. I can't say that name because it's flagged. It's a no name. You've got that. The Netflix documentary that was telling the young kids about that 80-20 rule that women only go for the top 20, which is like it's like 15-year-old hypergamy. It's actually more. It's higher than that. They don't just want the top 20. They want the top 1%. But so you've already got young kids getting slightly not BP to the extent that we know, not the knowledge that we know and stuff we talk about, but I see it getting. I see that younger generation in 10 years when they're like 16. Say they're 16 now, the man's going to be 26 in 10 years. I'm just trying to picture myself if I was 16 going through school and you go to uni and you just if you're there. What I see is more sub 5 men knowing about this stuff. How much more, I don't know. The average and Chads won't give a fuck about this because they're too busy slaying poon. Well, not so much average, but the Chads are. I think you're going to get the average being more RP'd, which I mean, to dating roaches, gym maxing, all that shit. Yeah, you're going to see like Chads are going to remain blue. I think, will it be mainstream, common knowledge? No, no. The BP is far too big of a harsh reality, far too big of a harsh truth to be allowed to become mainstream because the damage it would do to society. Let's just say if there was like segs ed, like relationship dynamics in school were taught, and someone came in, if an evolutionary psychologist came in and BP'd the class, it would you know imagine that, like all the sub 5, 14, 15 year olds getting told, unless you ascend, you're never going to find someone or get the partner, have kids. It's just going to decimate society. They can't really allow it to become mainstream. It's a tough one because on the other side of the coin, I believe everyone should know the truth, like where they stand, and know that, yeah, don't concentrate on this, concentrate on ascending. That's what I wish I'd have been taught instead of this red pill PUA bullshit. when I was, 17, 18, 19, losing my hair. I wish that I was BP then, for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, forget about all this pickup line stuff and frame and all that crap, push, pull, negs. No, it's your looks. Get on finasteride right fucking now. Get a good job. Just get a job at Kmart or something and save up and go over to Turkey or whatever and get that hair sorted out. Stop it from getting any worse with with finasteride, because that would have been about the ideal time for me to start, while I could just get maybe 2 lots of grafts and be fine. I can't do it now, I'm too far gone. But yeah, I needed that when I was that age. Where do I see it? I see it still being pretty underground, to be honest. I mean, look at my channel like this. It's not getting pushed. Bugger all BP channels are out there on the mainstream. They're happy to let RP channels go mainstream, but not BP. It's still going to be suppressed. It'll never go away. But I hope it does go a little bit mainstream, just so more people that need to know about it, that are struggling, more men that are struggling, can just find out the truth, know where they stand, and understand it's not their fault. It's not their fault that this either. You just picked the wrong parents. You lost the genetic lottery. Bad luck, son. Better luck next life. Or they need to know, hey, it's not completely over. Maybe you can ascend. If you can ascend, and they need to learn what they need. All men need to know what they need to learn how to accept and what they can change, and to come to terms with that. So I think en masse it will be more popular. Like, more guys are going to know about it, but I think to the effect it has on society will be about the same. So more people will know about it. That's where I see it in 10 years, the BP community. More people will know about it, but it'll be about the same. It'll be still a bit of an underground thing. You'd have to deliberately search for it to find it. It's not going to pop up on YouTube's recommended front page list, put it that way. So yeah, that's all the questions from viewer 7424. I should just say too, he closes by saying, many thanks for all the content recently. Welcome, glad to help, glad you enjoy it. Wishing you all the best, and I hope you have a great day. You too, mate. You too, brother. And let me just get the time for that, for these chapters that probably aren't going to work because I never really have luck when I first try things. Okay. Alrighty, let's go to the next question. This question comes from another weird name to read. The real Busky Dooski. The real Busky Dooski. Okay, I think I got it. Alright, the real Busky Dooski says, pardon me, says, can you make a video about dating coaches promoting AI Tinder photos? They seem to think your personality will carry over once you meet them, do they? If they actually believe that, they're deluded. I actually think any dating coach that promotes that knows it's not going to work. It's just another one of their stupid harebrained money making ideas. Can I make a video about it? Potentially, I'd have to research it a little bit. I do, however, know that the PUA dating coach Alex playing with fire, as us BPers call him, playing with himself. Alex playing with himself seems to promote AI photos for online Tinder, Bumble, whatever, online dating apps. and even himself uses them. I'll look into making a I'll look into making a video. I'd have to. I mean, if the real Busky Dooski, if you have any links or know of any people that do it, please put them down. It will help me to find them. I don't really know who to look for other than just typing in dating coaches that promote AI photos, but I know that playing with himself does do it, and I know for a fact it will not work. It will not work. You cannot. Let's just say there's two ways of doing it. There's just putting up an AI photo of someone that's just not you, or maybe looks a little bit like you, and then there's taking your photos and having AI fix the flaws a little bit. No, it's not going to work. It's just like if I was to tell a woman I was rich, and then I rock up and say, "Hey, look, I've got no money." That's not going to be overlooked. It's not going to happen. We all know looks are the first barrier for entry, and if you rock up and you do not pass that basic looks test, it's kaput, kaput. It's absolutely done. I even know this from sometimes where I've put up like really, really good angled photos of myself that make it, you know, I've maybe taken, 50 photos and picked three, put them up where I've looked really good. I've looked maybe taller than I am. I've looked in better shape than I am. And then I've went on a date and been flaked and ghosted and stuff. Maybe that was the case. Maybe it wasn't because of that. But yeah, I know that yeah, if you rock up and you don't look like your photos, you're done. Even I've been catfished by women plenty of times when I used to be on the apps back, not so the apps, more so the dating sites like Match and plenty of fish. Like, and even OK Cupid once upon a time was great because you actually had to message people and, you could actually, get to know someone a little bit other than just say yes or no based on your photo. Look, I still had dismal results and maybe only two or three fucking good dates a year or something like that. Maybe one hookup a year. But back then I could actually get some dates. I wasn't as bad as it is now. Now I get nothing for the last like 15 years online. Ever since a smartphone and sorry about mucking with the mic. Then it would have been loud in your ears. Ever since like yeah, the smartphone and Tinder and all that stuff, I've had fuck all. I've had nothing. So used to be good back in the day, but I used to meet women that just blatantly lie, put up photos of 10 years ago and 50 kilos ago, and I never once overlooked their shortcomings. I was like, no, you lied to me. I'm not attracted to you. You know, not interested. So I don't expect them to do it for guys. It's blatant cheating and lying. And once again, it's a way of finding yourself in potential hot water. If you lie to a woman and she takes exception to that, you can find yourself in a lot of hot water. You can find yourself in a lot of legal trouble. I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk lying, even though it's hypocritical because they can lie as well. It's a physical lie. Like you putting up AI photos of you better looking than you are is a physical lie, just like women putting on makeup is a physical lie. But it's not accepted for us to do it. I don't think it's right that we do it. I also think it'd be great if it was socially acceptable to demand a no makeup selfie as well, but that's never going to happen. But I'll consider making a video. Look, if you can provide the sources like the links and stuff like that, then yeah, I guess I could. But as far as the premise of your question, AI Tinder photos or dating photos, don't do it. It's not going to work out when you meet them. They're not going to say, oh, he's not as handsome. You're not as tall. You're not as handsome. But fuck it, you'll do. You'll do. No, that response isn't going to happen. And whoever claims it happens is lying. They are lying. So the real Buskaduski. The real Buskaduski. Thanks for the question. There's your answer. And I might get around to making a video if you can drop some links in there for me, mate. Alright, let's move on now to Leslie881. Leslie, good old Leslie. Haven't heard from you for a bit. One of, I think, my only female viewer is Leslie. I actually met her on another BP, evolutionary psych content creators channel. It's unfortunately not posting anymore. And it was that guy Pete. He refused to invite to gatherings. For one reason or another, he's decided not to continue his channel, and it's fair enough. I'd say it's work related. He didn't say the reason, and it's his right to not say it too. So, bless who he met. And now Leslie asks, in general, how do Australians view America? Well, isn't that a loaded question? It's a tough question. That has changed over the decades. At the moment, because of a certain orange man that's in charge, a lot of Australians don't really like America as a whole because of all the trouble he's caused, and more so the follow-on effects of how expensive fuel and things like that and everything has has become. So we don't really like that about how the country's being managed at the moment. As far as the citizens there, I think in general feel a little bit sorry for them. Um, what they're kind of going through. Look, this isn't really a political channel, but I'd say I kind of sit somewhere in the middle. I know people hate fence sitters. I can see good from the left, and I can see good from the right. I can see good in both. But when you get to the far of the other one, there's just nothing but fucking problems. But some of the stuff old Orange Man does is great. Some of the stuff I think's fucking stupid, pathetic. Or what's he doing it for? But I think overall we like America. We like Americans. And then she goes on to say, what aspects of American culture do Australians respect, and what aspects do they dislike? That can vary, vary from one to the other, just like any country. I know, like me personally, and a lot of other Aussies like the fact that you can own firearms, you can own boom sticks, and we need it at the moment in Australia for home protection. We really need it for that because we've got a hell of a lot of crime, especially immigrant crime at the moment, and yeah. But once again, it's a whole nother video. So, but yeah, we kind of like that. Um, just from people I've talked to and people that have travelled over there, we like how the different states over there can differ greatly. Like you've got your Texas, you've got your Californias, they're different. New York's different. You got the mid states. We like how the weather can change so rapidly. You've got your snowy cold, you've got your sunny hot states. Um, we like the old American culture, the Route 66, the Vegas, and all the stuff that we really see in movies. Um, what do we dislike? Even though it might not be true, but a lot of Australians have the presupposition that the assumption that Americans are very arrogant, self-centered and arrogant, even though that's probably not true for the most part. But that's one thing that gets pushed through our media about Americans, especially like through the 90s, early 2000s, that a lot of Americans are very money hungry, arrogant, kind of have no empathy, things like that. But that's just what's getting pushed. I'm a kind of firm believer that anyone everywhere in any country are basically the same. Everyone just wants to, go out, go to work, come back home, live a content, happy life. We don't want any trouble. You know, we don't want any problems or trouble. We just want to live our life in peace and harmony. But that's pretty much the general opinion. We like America. They're our allies. We've got great respect for them because we've been through a lot of pretty much every world war and some of the smaller wars. We've been allies, so we've got that. We've got that in common. We think that once again, like a bit hypocritical here, but we think that it's a big country full of fat people. Australia's a country full of fat people too. We see your meal sizes on TV and think it's ridiculous. Your supersized McDonald's stuff and think it's ridiculous. We can be a little bit envious of the choices of fast food and things. Basically, your freedom of choice we can be a bit envious of, and of course freedom of speech. We've the First and Second Amendment you've got. We are very jealous of that because we do not have that here in Australia. I know some of the like UK people are as well, like jealous of that. And the rest of the question: how has this view of America changed for better or worse during Trump's tenure in office? Well, like I said at the start of answering your question, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. And like I know we only know what's being allowed to be shown through the media. It's from who I've talked to about it, I'd say most people think it's changed for the worse. I don't we haven't really started thinking about it seriously now. I think it's still a country I would visit in its current state, but look, I'm a white fella from a Western country. JBW's like I've got no reason to fear anything from going over there. I could understand how a POC, a PO, you know, someone ethnic might get a little bit worried about going over there, but no, it's I, I'd still like to go for an American holiday experience. It's too hard to experience everything, but just maybe travel to a couple of different states and experience a little taste of America. We are kind of worried that Orange Man is a little bit of a loose cannon and might start trouble that we'll get involved in, military wise. But in general, it hasn't really changed that much. We still like and respect America, especially like militarily, things like that. We still great allies. So that'll never stop. It's a tough question because this it's such a general question. It's very hard to answer. Basically, yeah, it's we kind of think that it's not so much America, but Orange Man is a bit of a loose cannon. We just don't know what to expect in the future and what's going because everything that America does affects us. It affects the whole world. So we just kind of, I think we'd be happy once he's 10 years, once he's out. Um, it really doesn't affect us if it's a Democrat or Republic, if it's a left or right government you have. It more so affects you guys. But I think we'd yeah, I think a lot of Americans and Australians would like someone a little bit more predictable and stable. Whichever, I think it'll be another right a wing, or maybe someone a little bit maybe some kind of an independent, unless the left can get someone really good on their side that's going to win votes. But unlike you guys over there in the States, we have to vote. What I like about America is the people that are running for office have to earn your vote. We have to vote or we'll get a fine in the mail for not voting. It's a duty here. It's not just a right, it's a duty. We have to do it. And you need a damn good excuse if you don't turn up and do it. Don't know if you knew that or not, but yeah, I think Aussies would like someone a bit more predictable in office. We still yeah, we do deeply expect American, like like military operations that we've done with yous in the past. Like, we've always been allies, looked after each other. We think Americans can be wanks sometimes, a bit, big headed. A friend that travelled there once, about 10 or probably more than that, but probably about 20 years ago now, between 15 20 years, said the main difference between like men in America and Australia is, in Australia, men, when they're going about there, when they're out at the pub or out in public, anytime, or whenever we going about our lives, Aussie men like to give the impression that we're hard, like that we're tough, that we can handle ourselves. Where he said American men like to pretend they're cool. That's the main difference. Aussies like to pretend they're tough. American guys like to pretend they're cool. They're cooler than you. Don't know how true it is, but I'd be able to answer that better if I'd been there. So I hope that answers your question, Leslie. And I've already mucked up with these times. I'll try to do this chapters thing. If it doesn't work out, then I'm sorry. I'm learning. Okay, we'll move on to a question asked by Spaced Out 19. Okay, Spaced Out 19 asks, what do you think about Savvy Guy slash Oreo Man? He loves to repeat himself 1,000 times, but I enjoy that. I love to listen to his videos in the background. I had to look this guy up. Let me get his I've only looked at some of the thumbnails. I believe it's the same person. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the same person. Off first glance, the guy reminds me of, puts me in mind, looks a little bit like Patrice O'Neill. I have seen people react to this guy. I don't really know much about him, but I might watch a little video of him for you and let you know. I'll pick a little video. I have seen guys react to his shorts and things. I've seen him. I have seen him in other people's reactions. But hang on. Let me go here and look at that magic. I'll just minimize, not minimize, but make myself a bit smaller, and we will proceed to have a look at one of this guy's videos. I think Oreo Man, 4K subscribers, savvy guy, 17.7. I'm assuming it's the same guy. To me, the guy looks the same. Sorry if that comes across as negative in any way, but the guy looks the same to me. Let's see how old some of these videos are. 9 years ago. Do looks really matter? Yes, they do. Here's a playlist. Oreo Man. I think this other one's a bit newer, so we'll go Savvy Guy. It's the same guy. I'm 99.9% sure. Um, let's really click on it. Let's pick a short video and we'll watch it together and I'll react to it. Let's see, what's he got? A short. I have seen some stuff with this guy. He's not a bad bloke. I wouldn't mind watching some more of his stuff actually. He seems like with all like the names of the videos and stuff, it kind of seems like he talks about similar stuff to me. Uh, Let me do a little dance here. To pick a video, this is a hard one. I wish you had a, this is why I kind of asked for people to chuck down a link or give me something exact that you want me to look at, because it can be a little bit hard to do this. What can we look at? They're all quite long. I don't know if I'll have time to do one today. I'll do something because you've asked. I might have to have a look at his shorts, and I can just pick something and react to a little bit of it. At least then you'll know that I've seen him. All right, let's go back up. I'll pick something that seems life isn't beautiful for most. Let's play this one. Does this guy have ads?
What's going on?
Now, let me just quickly muck around with some settings. Haven't had a chance to test this, so let's hope that my voice and the desktop audio isn't too far out of sync. Okay, let's react to this video by him, or at least a part of it.
Guys, I'm back at you guys with another presentation. Hope everybody's doing okay. You know,
It puts me in mind of another YouTuber called Heed and Succeed. I think he's going through a bit of trouble at the moment, but similar type of videos. Talks about BP sitting in his car. Um, I'll keep going with it, but I have seen this guy, but only when other people have done reactions to him.
life is not beautiful.
You got that right, and that isn't fair either.
And I truly believe that life is not beautiful for most people. Most people's life is not great. The only people's life who's great are people who are rich and famous, or people who just look like models. They look like those fashion runway people. I truly believe most people's life is not great. Most
Yeah,
people's life is not good, guys. I'm
I'd
here to
agree.
tell you. Most people's life is bad. And that's just the honest truth, guys. Like, most people have to go to work every day. They probably deal with a manager who's condescending towards them. Most people have to deal with a lot in their life.
Oh, it's true. There, like a lot of people, no, men and women, but men channel. So let's talk about men's issues. A lot of guys out there are just going through the motions with kind of no end goal in sight, no reward. especially the sub fives out there, like average sub five guys that can't attract anyone. We're struggling in a lot of areas in life, not just in the ladies area, but in a lot of areas. We're just going through the motions, just getting more and more depressed. And yeah, most people do not have a fulfilling life. It sucks. And what is one thing that gives, that it would give a man fulfillment? Well, that's having a family and kids. That is not accessible for most men in the modern age.
You know, um, bills, everything being so expensive, just life in general. And, you know, you look at most people out and about because they look like they happy. Most people in today's world, guys, ain't happy. That's why I say most people's life is not beautiful. And a lot of people, especially nowadays, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of things. They
True.
just not gonna tell you what they dealing with. And they not gonna tell you what.
Well, that's one thing I've come to realize as well is that a lot of people, nearly everyone has got problems in life. Everyone's going through something. Like, never think that you're alone. I used to think I was alone in a lot of things. You'd walk down the street, see all these people that were happy, or just people going about their business, and then you're thinking, oh, geez, I've got this going on, and I've got to do this. I've got this coming up. I've got this problem. But everyone that you see on your walk down the street to the shops and back is thinking the same thing too. Everyone's, oh shit, I've got this going on, I've got that happen, or one of the grandkids has got this. You know, it's not as if everyone else's life is even just mediocre. A lot of people are living a shit life, a bad life. It just reminds me of a video I made probably about a year ago or something now that like, not that I really think this is true, but it just made a lot of things came together and made me think that what if Earth is like is like really hell? If this is a hell planet, you know, because a lot of people's lives are just absolute fucking shit. But anyway, let's listen to a little bit more of our mate here. I do like it. I'll be listening. I will be listening to more and more of this guy because I quite like his stuff. So yeah, thanks. Um, I forget the person that asked the question, spaced someone or whatever. But yeah, thanks for reminding me that this guy's got a channel because I've seen people react to his videos, but I haven't really watched any of them.
What's going on in their personal life. People not gonna tell you what's going on with them now. You know, that's one thing people not gonna do. You know, you really think people gonna tell you about what they dealing with in their life?
No,
Do you really think people gonna?
no, and it's definitely not acceptable for a man to go around telling people about their problems. As a man, you're expected to hold it in, shut the fuck up, get on with your life. And as a man, you are expected not to be a burden on other people, which is bullshit too, because a lot of guys can end up pressing that delete button because they let stuff bottle up and feel they can't open up about it.
Gonna tell you about what they going through, you know, and the struggles and challenges that they have in their life. Most people not gonna tell you what's going on with them. You know, you look at most people, you think that that they got it going on, but you don't go home with these people.
No,
You don't
ex-
see what's
exactly what I was saying there. You don't see what goes on. You just see these people down the street or someone driving a nice car or what have you, and just think that their life's perfect. They've got a perfect partner, and it's just no, that's not the case. Not the case at all. We'll listen to probably another minute of this guy, and then I'm going to have to move on to the next question.
really going on with people. People are very good at putting on, guys. Everyone does it when they go out into the world.
We generally call that masking. You put on a mask when you go out into the world. Once again, because it's not really acceptable if you're going through a bad time in your life. You can't really be walking down the street, mm, tears dripping down your face. You've got to put on that facade, especially as a man too. You have to always have that facade that you are formidable.
People are very good at putting on, people are very good at pretending. And life is not beautiful for most people. Most people got to wake up every day, they got to go to work, they got to grind, they got to deal with a lot of things they don't want to deal with. Life is not beautiful for most people.
Here we go. I'll stop this one here. I've got the gist of this video. I'll probably come back later on after I've made my video here and watch the rest of this. At some point, I will watch the rest of this. Yeah, I like this bloke, Savvy Guy, SAVVYGUI. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He looks like he's got some good videos. So I think I've got another 2 videos to look at, another 2 video requests. Once again, I might not do all the video because otherwise it'll be like a 4 hour long bloody video I'm making. But let me go back to OBS here and make that big for a bit. And try to get it. Here we go, that centered enough. Okay, that's enough of old mate there. Here we go, the right tab. So that was by Spaced Out 19. Well, there you go. Yeah, I have seen that guy being reacted to. Seems good. I don't mind if people repeat themselves a little bit. We tend to do that in the BP community a bit because everything kind of revolves around looks, money, status, everything. We try to link everything back to that LMS kind of backbone of the BP. So kind of it's one of them. It is what it is. You either like what we do or you don't. All right. So yeah, I'll definitely be listening to some more of his stuff. Might even do a reaction to a video if there's a good one that takes my fancy. So thanks, Spaced Out 19. Okay, we have lounge lick, lounge LIQ, lounge lick, lounge. Call you lounge. We got lounge here, and he just says OG BP video from the Clinton administration era. Provides a link. Thank you for typing the link in. I have clicked on the link. I haven't watched it yet, but I've got it ready to have a little look at. He goes on to say, some things never change, they always stay the same. That's true. And with these questions too, like if you go to the video where it's said to ask them, you'll see that some of these questions written do have replies. I won't be reading or answering the replies to these questions, just the questions themselves. Once again, it makes the video just that little bit shorter and concise, or succinct. I don't know if succinct's the right word, but it makes it more concise. So let's go have a look at this little link. I'm going to have to rearrange this thing again. All right, back to OBS. Back to the corner we go. All right, the link sent me to this. It is a YouTube channel with a video saying height and dating. goes for 14 minutes 26. I may not react to it all once again because it's, I don't want this to be hours and hours long. It's already a very long video, don't, watch it in parts. You don't want to watch it all, don't expect you to. So height and dating. So let's full screen it. Let's see what this is all about.
All men are not created equal, at least in size. Millions of little boys grow up to be short men. And if you're not one of them, you're about to find out how size can dramatically affect a man's life. When we first broadcast this story last May, we did an unusual experiment to test the theory that short men are often given short shrift, discriminated against over a matter of inches. Lynn Scher with the surprising results.
A little bit of music there, so I'm going to skip this. I really don't want to play anything with music that might get flagged, so let me.
Elevators are
Still music.
Little electronic thing.
Still music.
Short. I mean, who
men.
wants to be short?
Practically no one. How short is short? Well, that depends on the height.
Well, how short is short to the modern woman? Anything under probably 6'2". I think even 6 foot is average. I think 6 foot or anything under 6 foot would be short, but I think to the modern woman, a 6 foot tall man is just an average height man.
Of the man, you ask. But since the average American male is 5 feet 9 inches, we figure any man 5'6" or under qualifies. And that, according to our ads, our icons, even our mothers, is not enough. We live in a society where taller is better, especially for men.
And you stop and think where that comes from. When we were little, and we were all little once, we looked up at our parents.
Ralph Kai's 5'7", wrote a book about height.
We just assume anybody we're looking up to has power over us.
So happy,
Hollywood understands. Notice who Gregory Peck is surrounded with in this scene from Roman Holiday. No confusion here as to who's the leading man. As for all those actors who aren't as tall as their leading ladies, well, Hollywood knows how to fix that too. These are reportedly Humphrey Bogart's feet during the filming of Casablanca.
I'm saying it because it's true.
Experts say the real issue is eye contact, whether we're looking up to someone or down on them. You don't have to be a movie star to feel the consequences. We put Chris and Debbie, colleagues here at ABC News, in front of our camera, posing at different heights. Half the shots showed Chris as the taller of the pair.
The air's kind of thin up here.
In the other half, Debbie was taller. Then we gave the photos to students at Fairleigh Dickinson University and asked them to tell us a story about what was going on.
Yeah, these guys are obviously going over the EV-Psych, evolutionary psychology, part of height. Yeah, when you're taller than someone else, it does make you look more formidable. It's a dominance thing. Doesn't mean that you're a better fighter or that you're more masculine or anything like that. You could take a 6'6" guy that knows no martial arts and a 5'6" guy that's a MMA expert. The smaller guy is going to decimate the taller guy. But our modern brains don't know that stuff, so taller people in general are. It's been countless videos about this. Taller people in general get a leg up in life because of it. They what is it? Something like once you reach 6 foot or something, for every inch taller, you make so many more $1,000 a year or something, and 70% of CEOs are like fucking over 6 foot. They're like 6'4", things like that. But and then there's the the male-female dynamic of things where, women want a tall guy. A tall guy doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the best protector, does it? But, that's another video entirely.
When Chris was taller, the adjectives used to describe him were mature and respected. When Chris was shorter than Debbie, they called him submissive, childish, weak.
Hey, we got an ad.
There's a peanut inside me?
Got to talk about
Nice.
the music. I don't want to get serious and strike. Don't want to play their music and get in trouble.
If that's not how you want to be judged.
Sorry for that mumbo jumbo, but I don't want to just hear music on this video, so just in case it gets another strike. See, what were they saying about the guy? Yeah, he looks timid, submissive when he's shorter. Height matters. Height matters, people. Height matters. What more can I say? This looks like, it's from probably the 90s, mid-90s or something like that. I'm surprised I'm surprised a BP thing like this, not that people knew about BP back then, actually came out. I wonder if they're going to do anything about dating here or not. Let me just have a look here. Here's height.
That he wasn't quite as tall as.
Yeah, this guy. I made a video and this guy was in it. It's I think it's called BP for the Short Kings. It's in my back catalogue, and this guy was mentioned in it. He makes shoes that give you quite a fair bit of height. Let's see what this Sheila here's got to say.
And a man who writes down 5'11", he's probably about 5'9", 5'8", he's probably 5'6.5".
Andrea McGinty, who runs a dating service in Chicago, lie.
A man who writes down 6 feet, he's not 6 feet, he's probably about 5'10". A man who writes down 5'11", he's probably about 5'9", 5'8", he's probably 5'6.5".
Andrea.
So what you're saying there is it's pretty much true, I think. Most guys will bullshit a little bit about their height, but hey, all's fair in love and war. Women out there bullshit about their weight, their body count. I mean, and can the eye really, really tell the difference between a couple of inches? Yeah, not really.
McGinty, who runs a dating service in Chicago, knows all the tricks.
The only way I know that they're not lying is if they say I'm 5'11 3/4. Because then, you know what, you would lie. I would lie. I would say I'm 6 feet.
Tell me what the women's reaction is when you say you've got someone shorter.
Shorter. 2 inches? Let me think.
I can tell you right now, women don't like it. I've seen a lot, and I mean a lot, of videos that cover female matchmakers. Well, matchmakers are pretty much exclusively female anyway, from what I can gather. A lot of these female matchmakers are going out of business because they just cannot find men that are up to the standard of their female clients. They cannot find. They come with this big laundry list, and they will not accept a guy that has one thing wrong with it. If they've got a list of 20 requirements and a guy meets 19, not good enough. Where's that other one? I want 20. That's what they're saying to them. So a lot of these matchmakers they just don't exist anymore. They just can't find these fucking ridiculous standard men that women want.
Think about it. 4 inches? Are you crazy? No.
We asked her to help us construct an experiment to test just how willing women are to date shorter men. And we found 3 brave volunteers. Stu is the shortest.
Yeah, this guy was in that BP for Short Kings too. He gets around, this bloke.
Men. And we found 3 brave volunteers. Stu.
This fella here, he was. I think he's about 5'4" or something. They done this experiment where he walked down the street with this tall guy. Anyway, go back and watch that if you want to learn more.
Who is the shortest?
How tall are you?
I'm 5 foot.
Fuck.
And 5'5" with the afro.
Rob is 5'3". He prefers taller women.
I kind of enjoy it. I mean, I think there are some serious advantages to being having a woman who's a little bit taller.
David is getting married this fall.
She is 5 feet tall.
And you are?
I am 5'6".
Oh, well.
Yeah, giant, right.
Oh, there you go. There's one option if you're like around that 5'6" range. Yes, you can find a chick that's 5 foot, but in saying that, there's a lot of 5 foot women out there that will only date 6 foot and up guys. I'll watch this little segment and then I'll call it quits for this video because once again, this is a pretty long video.
We recruited other men about the same age as David, Stu, and Rob, but taller. We asked them all to dress in jeans and a sweater, and then we did something cruel. We put them in lineups 5 at a time behind a two-way mirror. The men couldn't see or hear what...
I've already done this, so I've already covered a bit of this. This is pretty much most of what was in that video that I reacted to, so I'll leave this one here. They made the short guy into a doctor, into a fucking author, and he was nearly Superman, nearly, and the women still didn't pick him. They went for the tall man. So, yeah, so I'll leave that one there. Oh, where's my, here we go. There we go. So yeah, I'll leave that one there and I'll go back and thank Lounge LIQ Lounge Lick. It's a disgusting thought, someone licking a lounge. I'll thank Lounge Lick for his comment. Yeah, I've pretty much seen what that thing's about in a longer format video and reacted to it. So yeah, women have always wanted a tall bloke. That's pretty much how it's been. And for the final question, we're almost there, people. The final question of this Q&A session is from Mr. Riggin. And he says, T, can you comment on the video where Ross Jeffries is an old school PUA charlatan, in the mystery method style, David D'Angelo era. So can you comment when a video where Ross Jeffries got interviewed by Pearl Davis? I think she had some hilarious body language when he was laying that NLP game on her. NLP game. Okay. That is something that I looked into as well when I was back in the PUA days, the NLP, where basically this guy tells stories. You basically tell women stories, real or made up, and they're meant to invoke. Basically, they're meant to push certain emotional buttons and invoke attraction towards you. You're basically telling a story like about how your friend met someone and they were really attracted and they instantly fell in love. And because you use the words instantly fell in love, as soon when you say that, you're meant to point to yourself, and that's meant to make her feel that for you. It's an absolute load of charlatan snake oil bullshit. As I said, I went and tried a little bit of that stuff, realised, that doesn't fucking work either. If it worked, everyone would be doing it. And so yeah, telling all these stories, and he's got this other story, this Ross Jeffries, where you tell a story about how you went to this theme park and you went on a roller coaster and you had these feelings and it went up and down and how you felt so excited. And once again, they're meant to imagine all them feelings with you. It's an absolute load of shit. So as you're saying this story, you feel so excited when you're on this ride, when you want to take, and you're meant to point to your manhood when you say, when you go on this ride, it feels so good, and then that's meant to somehow trick their brain into thinking that them feelings belong to you. It's That's absolute fucking horse shit. That's absolute horse shit. This NLP fucking crap, absolute bullshit. But I did look up that video. The whole interview goes for about 2 hours, which I will not be reacting to. But there's a little clip that goes for about 10 minutes, which I'll watch a little bit of and see. Once again, you want me to look at Pearl's reaction? I'll look at how Pearl is reacting. I already know about this Ross Jeffries and know that he's another PUA grifter. So let me go here and not minimize, but make my camera small. Go back to YouTube and here we go. This one here, I'll have a little 9-minute clip. This is kind of, she reacts to language patterns. So we'll click on this. This is from Game Global. I can Rejection Global, more like it. We got ads.
This stop
I'm going to talk over
is
the
where
music as I
everything
said
starts.
because it can stuff up the algorithm and I don't want to get done for
Because
music.
if you're on your way to Swinburne's Open Day,
copyright, so
you're already on your way.
Talking absolute
Next gen,
nonsense.
now.
So
betting can feel pretty harmless at first,
we got betting.
but when it hooks you
gamble,
First got into this.
I was going to ask you about the pickup stuff. So you've been doing it for 30 years?
Yeah, over 30 years. I wrote my first book in 1988. And so that you are in the last years of your previous life.
Like 1988. You tell me this guy here claims to be able to pick up any chick only if he says, oh, if they let me sit down and talk to them, she's putty in my hands. I can make them feel all the emotions that she really wants to feel, and they just beg to sleep with him. He's an absolute psychopath. Like he's he's basically trying to psychologically manipulate and hypnotize, basically to try to hypnotize, which is all bullshit too. Women into sleep. I'm surprised this bloke isn't behind fucking bars, mate, with the kind of stuff that he alleges to have done. I'm surprised he's still out on the outside. Speed seduction, more like speed rejection, pal.
Time, young lady, when I first got into this.
Well, I was curious because you had some stuff about like conversation patterns.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could like tell me about that, if you don't mind.
Sure. So what I teach my guys is don't have this. I want to make this distinction very clear. Don't ever lie, but don't have fact-based conversations. I'll give you an
PUA mumbo jumbo
example. What's the difference between asking the question, what do you like to do for fun, which every chump has asked you, and this question, when you want to do something that makes you feel totally alive and gets your heart beating hard and time flies by, what do you love to do? Or what's...
Here we go with your NLP stuff. He's trying to get you to feel that and then relate it back to him. Absolute fucking bullshit.
Something you've always fantasized, dreamed of doing, but haven't let yourself dare. Now, those are two fundamentally different questions. One just seeks a factual answer.
Yeah, and once again, if you're an ugly sub-5 guy, how are you meant to approach a woman that's already given you the fucking stink eye and a back turn and say this stuff? If a woman isn't gonna, if you don't pass that looks test, you haven't got the chance to sprout all this bullshit to them.
Ends the conversation. The other is designed to wake up a woman's emotions. It deals with themes of adventure, fantasize.
Here we go again, the old push the right emotional buttons and they'll overlook your physical shortcomings. It just doesn't work that way, gentlemen. We all know that. Oh, Jesus, this guy. Some of the stuff I've read in books that this guy's apparently done, I hope it's lies, because this guy should be behind fucking bars. That's absolute bullshit.
Doing something that she doesn't ever dare to do. Do you understand how it evokes something completely different? Can you feel that and see it?
Yeah, I was thinking about the question. I'm like, I don't even know how to answer that, but it makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think. And more importantly, given the right rapport, it makes you fantasize. Now, does it make you sexually fantasize? Not necessarily, but give this metaphor. Consider this metaphor.
Oh, you wanted me to, you know what Pearl's doing? Well, so far Pearl's just been a polite host. She's got a guest on. She's going to upload this to her channel, so she's not going to do anything negative to him because she wants the views. Pearl's another grifter as well. You know, not so much in the sense of like the PUAs and roaches are, but she's, doing whatever it takes to make money online. She's got advice about how to, attract women, this, and that. She hasn't got any fucking magic pill either, gentlemen. So just because something comes from the mouth of a woman doesn't mean it's like an instant fucking magic bullet.
I've stayed in my travels in some pretty cheap motels, where the rooms are separated by just a thin wall. And if someone's partying in the room next to you, it's going to keep you up at night. Consider that part of a woman's mind that fantasizes about anything to be one room. And then in the other room is the room where she sexually fantasizes. If you can wake up that.
Yeah. Do you know who she fantasizes about? It's Chad. That's not any of your students, mate. This is just like same shit, different smell. As I said, all of these PUAs have got their angle. This guy is NLP, hypnotic language patterns. It's all bullshit. And look at him with that glass fucking whiteboard or whatever it is, this glass writing board on the back of him, pretending he's fucking John Nash or Goodwill Hunting with all the bullshit he's got written on it. Trying to make out he's smart.
That first room, chances are the noise is going to wake up the second. So that's one example. A second example is to, how can I put this? Is to tell stories in a way that evoke a woman's imagination. I'll give you a very simple one. Mm-hmm. I will be out. I've used this to turn female friends into lovers. It's got a.
I don't think you have, Ross. Here we go. He's used this to turn. He's been put in the friend zone and he's used this to turn them into lovers. What an absolute fucking load of. What an absolute load of shit. Once again, the premise of pressing the right emotional buttons. And as I said, what about the first hurdle of just getting the woman to talk to you? If you're an ugly guy, if you don't pass her looks test, she ain't going to sit down and be listening to you. That's his brand of PUA immediately eliminated from reality.
100% success rate.
100% success rate. I might need to do an individual reaction to this fucking idiot. Works every time, does it, buddy?
Didn't give it away, but I'm going to give it away, and it's going to offend a lot of women.
So
but
guys can't escape the friend zone.
No, they can't. No, they can't.
Guys,
unless they ascend. If you're in the friend zone and you ascend from like a 4 or 5 to a 7, yeah,
can escape the friend zone. Okay. They can. So here's how it works. I'll meet a female friend for coffee. I'm 3 for 3 on this. 100% 3 for 3. I'll meet him for coffee and we'll just have a few laughs. And I'll say, hey, are you a people watcher? Now, the answer is 100% yes. Who doesn't like to watch people? And then what I'll do is I'll use a pattern called quotes. Quotes simply means I'll talk about what I saw someone else do. The usefulness of quotes is if they don't like what I said, I can back up and say, hey, I didn't say it. That's just what I saw someone else do. So here's the story I tell them. I say, me too. I was in this place the other day, and I saw a couple on a bad date. Now, the way I could tell they were on a bad date is they obviously weren't able to feel that incredible connection.
See, see how he paused that? They weren't able to feel that incredible connection. That's called an embedded command. That's what these guys teach. Once again, I've had books on this stuff. It does not work. So before you say the command, you've got to pause and then lower your info. That's all, but they tell you that that's all absolute bullshit. It doesn't work. So let's see if Pearl feels this incredible connection towards him. Let's see if he can what do they call it? Anchor, set an anchor or whatever the fuck it is. Oh, first we got an ad.
Wonderful when you experience
Ads and
exceptional
music, ads and
service for
music.
a
I got to talk
remarkably
over
low
the music.
price.
Ads and music, ads and music. Got to talk over the music.
Kinda makes you
Ads and
feel a bit
music, ads and
smug.
music. Got to talk over and 2 ads too, just to
Offenders
listen to
aged
this
over
dickhead.
14 who commit violent crimes now face more
2
serious
ads to listen to this
consequences.
charlatan.
You know that click right there, those butterflies.
See, when he said click, he was pointing to himself. When you have that click with someone, that's all Charlotte. That's all fucking bullshit. Bullshit.
Let you know something big's going down. Instead, her body language was turned away. She was checking through her phone. You see how I'm building up the story?
Pearl then kind of had, like, pursed her lips like, oh yeah, you're a bit of a dickhead.
And I'm betting and talking about little things like feeling a connection and feeling butterflies. So I'm building up the story, and I say, but all of a sudden, things took a 180, and you won't believe what happened, Pearl. And naturally, you will say, what happened? It's creating curiosity. Now I'm drawing you even further into the conversation. I'm creating curiosity. I'll say, well, all of a sudden, he just rubs the back of her neck like this. Now, the back of the neck happens to be a very erogenous zone. Most people don't know it.
Gentlemen, whatever you do, don't touch a woman on her neck or anywhere unless you get consent. Don't listen to this fucking idiot and try to think any of this shit works.
He leans over and he whispers something in her ear. And all of a sudden, she's all over him. She starts macking on him. She's grinding on him. She gets up to go to the bathroom. And I walk over to the guy and say, first of all, dude, you're my hero, but you got to tell me, what did you say? And then I'm quoting the guy, mind you. So she's off her guard. She's not expecting anything, Pearl. Well, I just leaned in her ear. And as I say this to whoever,
here comes a big pickup line, gentlemen. Get your notepads out.
whoever I'm talking to, I'll lean in her ear. He leaned in her ear and said, can you imagine?
Can you imagine? Here we go, another NLP language pattern. Listen up, guys. This is how to get rejected and tell a story at the same time.
Our first soft electric brush of the lips and all the things we're going to do to each other when we finally get each other alone. I mean, honestly, did he really expect her to imagine that?
Imagine that. That's his other. Can you expect her to imagine that? So he's trying to make out. There was some experiments done on this by like guys back in the 50s and stuff, and whether you can actually manipulate people by doing all this language pattern stuff, and it's all fucking bullshit. If people could do this, I mean, if you could do this, I would be a billionaire driving Ferraris. I could just go to a car dealer and just get him to give me a car, walk up to an absolute Stacy and get her to, fall in love with me. It just does not work. It doesn't work. There's another one of these concepts that sounds really good. That, oh, you don't need to be good looking, you don't need to be tall or rich, you just got to sit down and talk to them. Well, as I said, the first barrier is getting a woman that you like to actually sit down and give you the time of day if she doesn't find you attractive. And secondly, this shit doesn't work. You cannot bypass a part of the female brain and embed these secret commands for her to fall in love with you. Doesn't work, mate. I wish it did work, because but it just doesn't work, mate.
And feel compelled to
What's he say?
other alone. I mean, honestly, did he really expect her to imagine that and feel compelled to?
So imagine that, and then the other command is feel compelled to act on them, on that. Feel compelled to act on it. Once again, this NLP stuff does not work. If it worked, Pearl would have gone on the first plane to where he lived after that and screwed him. Doesn't work.
No.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's really good too.
And you're 3 for 3 on it?
I'm 3 for 3 on it.
They're good liars, these guys. They are very, very good liars.
But let me break out the structure of it.
Okay,
The
yeah,
structure of it is, first of all, I'm telling a story about somebody else. So it takes away any of the suspicion, any of the nervousness. Second, I'm talking about a theme that women are fascinated about. This is a generalization, which is good and bad dates. Everyone's seen a bad date. Everyone's seen a train wreck of a date. So naturally, they want to talk about it. Then I get attention by suddenly switching things up and saying how everything suddenly changed. That's going to create curiosity.
How many ads? Jesus, Pearl. How much money do you want to make?
You can teach anywhere in Victoria.
Can ya? Who cares?
Then I'm demonstrating the rub on the back of the neck. If you, somewhere on the internet, there's a YouTube video, and sincerely, I really am not trying to plug myself. If you search Ross Jeffries erotic touch, you'll see me demonstrate.
My fucking God. Do not touch, please, if you're new to the BP, do not touch women that don't give you the green light to do it. You will land yourself in some extremely hot water sooner or later.
Trading it on a very hot young Swedish woman.
Fuck me. I worked on a hot young. The fuck out of me.
Plug myself. If you search Ross Jeffries erotic touch, you'll see me demonstrating it on a very hot young Swedish woman.
Fuck off.
Who I wound up sleeping with. By the way, thank you, Sweden.
Fuck these guys. Fuck, they're good at the bullshit. You end up sleeping with a hot young Swede. Look at this fucking idiot here. He slept with a hot young Swedish girl because he knows this erotic touch. Fuck off, mate. Please.
Sweden has been very good to me. So has Denmark. Anyway, that gets them turned on. And then when I lean over and whisper in their ear, every woman I did this to said, I could feel the hot breath on my neck. I could feel your lips brushing against my ear. I can't say without getting you banned, but one of them said my bleep was bleep. The other one said I could feel my bleep tingling. And the other one said, you are not my type, but I am so turned on right now.
Oh, what a load of fucking bullshit. You're not my type. Get the fuck out of here. Once again, if only that sounds good in theory. That you just you just got to say these magical pickup lines and touch them in certain places. As I said, don't go around touching women, but you will land in very fucking hot water. What an absolute load of shit, mate.
So this is just one of the ways. So those are two. I could give you a
just one of the ways you can get rejected, is it?
Third, if we have time, excuse me for coughing, a little bronchitis. I was sick for 2 weeks. Is this giving you some idea of what I do?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And then for an actual pickup, here's some things I would use to teach guys to start a conversation. So I believe humor is a really great way to start a conversation with a woman.
No, looks is a really good way to start a conversation with a woman.
Not being a clown. If a guy just keeps telling you jokes, you're going to walk away. You're going to get bored. You're going to think he's a weirdo. But using humor. Please give me the time to explain this, okay? Don't cut me off here. So I will do what I call a pre-opener. I'll just say nice shoes, or excuse me, do you mind if I reach for the milk?
Yeah, and that's going to get most guys instantly rejected. It's all these step-by-step plans these idiots have don't work. And once again, when they don't work, they make it out to be your fault. Because I've read a bit of this guy's book, other guys' books about it. I got really into this shit when I was younger, and they always stipulate if done properly it'll work. If you don't do it properly, it won't work. And they always make it out that it's your fault when something goes wrong. Not that what they try to teach you is complete bullshit. They don't tell you that looks matter or anything like that. Looks, money, status, height, hair. No, I'm sorry, but telling a story and open in a certain way, touching them, erotic touches, don't don't do any of the touching stuff, please. But that just doesn't work, mate. He knows it. He's been a fucking grifter from day dot. So this guy, I don't know why he's still relevant. This guy disappeared like fucking 20 years ago, 50 after about 2007, 2008. This bloke just fucking disappeared. Everyone worked out that it was all bullshit. Let's continue. Oh, I've nearly watched all of this little 10-minute clip. May as well finish it.
That's just designed to let her hear my voice and see I'm not going to harm her. And then I'll say, hey, I've got to ask, do you work for the Department of Defense? And when
here we go, the stupid pickup lines again.
She says no, I'll say, because your eyes are weapons of mass distraction. Now,
Fuck, you'd have to be bloody soup Giga Chad to get away with a stupid pickup line like that. Mass distraction.
when she laughs, I'm not going to leave it there. I'm not going to leave it at the laugh.
If you're anything but a Chad and you say that stupid pickup line, you're going to get laughed at the building, or you're probably going to get your head kicked in by fucking one of the girls' orbiters, or you're going to say, you're going to start that line and she's just going to backturn you. They're either completely deluded, they're delusional psychopaths, or they're just heartless grifters, or a mixture of both.
I'm going to say, okay, that was cheesy. But when I saw you, I thought she probably gets approached 100 times a month. See if she has a sense of humor that would make her fun to talk to for a minute. So let me explain what I'm doing there. I'm getting the laugh, but then I'm owning it. I'm admitting that it was cheesy, and then I'm giving what I call an implied compliment. Notice what I didn't say, Pearl. I didn't say you're so beautiful you get approached 100 times a month. That would be like, I implied the compliment. I said, she probably gets approached 100 times a month. Now, is that implying that she's a war pig, or is that implying that she's hot? It's implying that she's hot. So whatever you can get a person to imagine for themselves will be perceived by them as being their own thought, and it won't be resisted. It will be absorbed, and once it's absorbed, it'll be acted upon. Those are just 3 different examples of what I teach. I've been doing this 30 years, and if it didn't work, I would have been kicked out of business by now.
Well, it doesn't work, mate, and you're not really relevant anymore. You haven't been relevant for about 20 years. And the only people buying your stuff are suckers that are just looking for the last bastion of hope to meet a woman. That's all, yeah. It's like what's Rehab Room's quote? If you have to resort to a PUA to attract a woman, it's a wrap. Don't bother.
There would have been complaints, and I would have been booted. So that's just something. Did that give you some good
It's bullshit artist. All right, let's get out of this and wrap up. All right, we're back. Alrighty. Let me go back here. You probably won't be able to see what I'm doing. That's okay. All right. As far as Pearl's reaction, she was just being a polite host. I don't think she actually believed anything that he said or did. She just wants content to make money on her channel. And as far as Ross Jeffries, yeah, the OG rejection artist, you can't talk your way into a woman's pants. You can't. As I said, I went out and tried all this stuff, like told some stories and tried all that shit, tried to get them to feel excited around me and, feel attracted to me. And it just, it never, it doesn't work. Not once did it work. It's bullshit. And it's not something that I've done wrong because I've tried it that many times. And I'm not a bad storyteller. Once I sit down, and start talking, I'm pretty congruent. So it's absolute bullshit. It just doesn't work. Wish it did work, but it doesn't. There's several people that carry on about this NLP shit too, like not just in pickup, but salesmen try to sell you, $1,000 courses on how to sell anyone anything by making them believe that they really want it, and it doesn't work. Any kind of hypnosis shit like that doesn't work unless the person wants it. Maybe it'd work for Chad. Maybe a very far maybe. If you're a Chad and she already liked you, maybe if you sat down and told these stories about being excited and that. But then again, you wouldn't need to. If you're Chad, you don't need any shit like this. But yeah, this NLP shit, it was really, really popular in the 90s, early 2000s. And it wasn't just PUAs, it was salesmen, it was fucking how to be a better manager at work, how to fucking, you know, command respect and all that shit. And it's just all bullshit. It's just the same shit, different smell. Some people use alpha holding frames, some people use push pull, some cocky funny. All of these PUAs have got their little niche angle. But anyway, I've got to wrap this up. It's gone on for a bit too long. Thanks, Mr. Riggin, and thanks everyone that has, posted a comment or asked a question. I hope I answered everything to your satisfaction. So this has been a pretty long one, and I'll try out these chapters. Please forgive me if it doesn't work. And as always, take care of yourselves, because quite frankly, no one else gives a shit. So look after yourself, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.